Okay, so this video shows a quick summary of the events that took place in the second game round. As you can see, some of the German tanks took some damage. There are two heavily damaged Panzer IVs. Panzer III was lightly damaged. Another one was already lightly damaged over here during game round 1. A truck was also lightly damaged, which you can see here. By the way, it's still got one or two squads boarded, but the fact that the truck got lightly damaged by op fire, meant that it had to both stop right away, which is a pretty standard rule. But also, and that's not a special rule or anything, but any squads transported by it are immediately fatigued at that moment as well, which is a little rule that's easily forgotten or overseen. But yeah, that's one of the things that happens. Okay, so some damage was actually done to the German units. They did manage to secure their 3 command point objectives. The other 2 were captured as well, besides the one that was already captured on round 1. It did go at the expense, all this damage that was done to one of the British anti-tank guns, because it did a good job, but it meant that it also revealed itself, and I believe one of the Panzer IVs actually took it out then. Also, the anti-tank guns mostly fired on the German tanks, and not on the trucks and half-tracks that entered the board later on during the round. That was actually kind of the idea, that the Germans would provoke the anti-tank guns to fire at the tanks, expecting them at least to survive, because of course, it's quite a big loss to lose a truck that's fully loaded. What I did, by the way, or even when it's not fully loaded, what I did, by the way, is I put some of the units hidden from view, so that the opponent wouldn't know. In this case, it's a solo playtest, but I'm suggesting this for actual play against an opponent to hide them from view. In this case, I placed them in the inside of the box, so your opponent wouldn't see which unit or units are actually being carried by the truck or half track. So I strongly recommend that. Because otherwise, obviously, any anti-tank guns that do want to fire on those units would save their fire for the juiciest units. So I would keep that information hidden as much as possible if I were you. So this is some additional damage that was done. 2 German squads lost a figure. The heavy fog card is removed from play. I just placed the disruption tokens on there to remind me. One of them was on the turn track and the other one on the card itself to remind me that it's supposed to be removed. It always works fine for me to do that. Some of the cards that were drawn in the command phase, the British bought the increased priority card. They didn't yet use the take down the beast card. They drew another increased priority card, as well as a go to ground card. That one can be used on any anti-tank guns that might not be concealed anymore. In this case, obviously, it got destroyed, so it's not possible. But that would be allowed, although there is a maximum of I believe there are 4 concealed markers included per nation. Well, it's definitely, you cannot go beyond that maximum, so you cannot use American or British counterparts or whatever to have more than 4 concealed units. So a maximum of 4 concealed units at any time on the board per side, at least. I don't think the Germans can actually get any concealed units, but for the British, that's definitely the case. The British have a lead in command points, obviously, but well, the Germans might do some catching up now that they have 3 of their own. They have the CEC initiative card, and the German air support deck also holds a couple of additional cards that would give them, additional command points to be put on the initiative card. So actually, it has been quite an eventful round. British haven't, apart from the anti-tank gun they lost, they haven't actually sustained any further damage. But yeah, this was a quick sum up of turn 2. Before I forget, so the Germans are actually trying here to move up the wadi, which keeps them from sight, unless over here in this line units can see each other, except for in the hex where the German command point objective is placed, because that's yeah, I forgot the exact word what they use for it, but it's hidden from view. Behind that one, they can actually see each other. But of course, this anti-tank gun is still concealed, so it cannot be fired at. But the squads can be fired at, but it's difficult to actually do any damage because they're well entrenched. The hills give 1 cover, the entrenchment gives 2 cover, and of course what you would ideally want to achieve is that they won't be able to operate the AT gun, but then you need to suppress them, and well, there's an officer there, and well, this one is actually not that strong, but this unit over here, it's got the Bravo specialization, which means that it provides extra cover. It's got 2 elites and an officer, so this one is almost impossible to take out because of the enormous amount of cover dice it gets to roll. Okay, well, I'm very anxious to see what round 3 is going to bring, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.